The NAACP issuing a travel advisory over the weekend. Florida apparently is dangerous for people of color. In the advisory, the civil rights organization wrote, quote, "Please be advised that Florida is openly hostile toward African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ+ individuals."
Yeah, the NAACP also saying that if you do go to Florida, it does not welcome the contributions of African Americans. Individuals may carry concealed firearms without permits. There is a stand your ground law in Florida. You should exercise extreme care in all parts of the state and be aware of the open hostility towards African Americans.
And here to weigh in, our second panel of the morning, Newsmax contributor Deneen Borelli and Senior Lecturer of African American Studies at the University of Maryland, Jason Nichols, along with Project 21 member Whitley Yates. Good morning to all of you and welcome.
Good morning.
So reading this list, the NAACP makes it sound like if you're black, someone in Florida will maybe, I don't know, shoot you, hurt you, because they're all racist. I mean, I think it's a little bit, beyond the pale, but I want to kick it over to you. Deneen, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Well, look, the NAACP is a Democrat, black liberal front group. They're just as bad as Black Lives Matter, and they are masquerading as a civil rights group. The city of Baltimore should be condemned by the NAACP, which is where their headquarters is. 57% of blacks live in Baltimore, and they are leaving Baltimore in droves because of poor schools, high crime, and few job opportunities. So it seems to me the NAACP should stay in their lane, take care of home, and stay out of Florida, because Florida is the polar opposite of Baltimore.
Let's hear everyone's opinion on this just first off before we go dive a little deeper. Jason, what are your thoughts on the advisory?
So first of all, I don't think the way it was characterized earlier is correct. I don't think they're saying that you're going to get shot if you come to Florida, or everyone is racist at Florida. I read the advisory and I didn't see that in it. I think what they're saying is that the leadership in Florida has been hostile to African Americans, has been hostile to African Americans and their history. And if you're going to call out the NAACP, which is probably the reason that the three of us who are panelists here are in the positions that we're in, and we would not be in the positions that we're in without the work of the NAACP, and you try to erase their accomplishments. I don't know what to tell you. But I think that the NAACP here is saying, when we look at even the things that Ron DeSantis has done in the state with African American studies, also he's trying to roll back former President Trump's First Step Act. He's actually more hostile than former President Trump, who actually had some criminal justice reform. He's doing things, and they were trying to raise awareness to the people in Florida, African Americans in Florida, and people of color and LGBT people, and people outside of the state.
Whitley, I'll send this over to you because it was just brought up about DeSantis. So the Florida governor, his press secretary, Jeremy Redford, just responded to the advisory. Take a listen. Okay, it's a tweet, actually. He tweeted this of the governor that says, quote, "This is a stunt. If you want to waste your time on a stunt, that's fine, but I'm not wasting my time on your stunt, okay?" End quote. So is it good that the governor's even getting into this cultural battles before he's really just getting his campaign even started?
No, I don't think that it's a good idea to get into any type of culture war, especially in today. But we also have to remember that the NAACP was founded as a Republican organization fighting for equal rights. I'm not sure if that's the same organization today. And the truth of the matter is that the data in Florida when it comes to Black residents doesn't match the declaration that the NAACP has just given. So the truth is that Black businesses are thriving in Florida, and it's one of the best places for Black people to own a business. So I just think that right now, there's a lot of cannon fodder around this, and we need to really be focused on the issues at hand that are impacting American citizens on a daily basis.
Well, this isn't actually the first time that the NAACP has issued a travel advisory against any state. In 2017, they did the same thing too, warning people of colour about travelling to Missouri. And then in 2018, told Black Americans not to fly American Airlines. So tell us how these travel advisories really, how they actually go. Janine?
What they're talking about, but I will say this. They came out against DeSantis because before he even announced he was going to run, because what they don't want are blacks to see what a great job he did with handling Florida. And I think it's a bunch of propaganda that is coming out of this organization. If they cared about blacks, they would be all on board for school choice, which they oppose, and they would have a voice with all of this rampant crime taking place in these Democrat-run cities. It's a propaganda group.
Hey, Jason, you know, it is a little ironic. The chairman of the NAACP lives in Tampa, Florida, right? Leon Russell. So that's one thing. And you mentioned before how, you know, you didn't see this has anything to do about getting shot, but then why did they even mention guns? They mentioned it's a stand-your-ground state. I'm not sure how there's any relevance to African Americans at all. I mean, that seems kind of strange that they would mention that. They also mentioned that it's a concealed carry state. So that's why, you know, it does imply that maybe you'll be shot or something. So what's your take on that?
So first thing I'll say is that the NAACP is a nonpartisan organization. It always has been. As a matter of fact, if you want to look, the chairman of the NAACP, or the Derek Johnson, excuse me, actually congratulated Tim Scott when Tim Scott started to run for president. The other thing that I would say is that when we're looking at some of the gun laws and stand your ground, these are positions that the organization has taken. I might agree. Some things I agree with, some things I don't. But to mischaracterize it, and I would just answer one of your questions this way. So in 1955, if a black man lived in Mississippi, he shouldn't criticize Mississippi? I think you can still criticize something from within. And part of this was to raise awareness of people within the state of Florida. And lastly, one of the things that we've seen is that there was high crime in some of the Republican-led cities like Jacksonville, which is why you had the victory of the Democratic candidate, Donna Deegan, in Jacksonville, because Republicans couldn't get control of the crime. So I think that that's kind of a straw man argument.
Well, Jason, I just want to say, I wasn't laughing at you. I just want to say, in general, I don't think anything is bipartisan these days. I think everything is hyper-political. But thank you, and you spoke fairly eloquently on your point against mine. Thank you.
I also wanted to just quickly mention as well, I do think that this does have to do with the new immigration laws that are going into place in Florida as well, about having to check people's green cards to see if they, you know, do have legal status as well. So that is a point that we didn't get to. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Whitley, I do apologise. We were going to come to you next, but we'll bring this back up another time with you, I'm sure.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.